The 2026 PBA season is about to begin, with the Players' Championship starting on the 16th of February. But what are the boldest predictions for the 2026 season? I asked this very question to my subscribers, and I got some very interesting predictions back. So in this video, I'm going to look at your boldest predictions for this season, discuss them, and see whether or not I think they are likely to happen. I really can't wait now to see what's going to happen throughout 2026. I'm sure we're going to be in for a few shocks and surprises. But let's start off with prediction number 1. I had a couple of people mention this one, and this prediction is that EJ Tackett does not win a title in 2026. Now, EJ has obviously done things in the last few seasons that we've never really seen before. He's simply been on another level to the entire field. In 2023, he won 5 titles, which included 2 majors. 2024, he won 2, but it did include the World Championship. And then in 2025, he had a sensational season, winning 4 titles, which included the US Open and the World Championship, but he was making shows with ease, and to be honest, could have easily won a couple more titles. So that's 11 titles, including 5 majors between 2023 and 2025. I mean, that's pretty insane. And he's also won the Player of the Year award 3 years in a row. So it's a really bold claim to say that he won't win again in 2026. Personally, I do disagree with this one. I think when you look at how he's performed, I just don't see how he's not going to win a title. And let me explain why I think that. And it's quite simply because he is making too many shows. In the 2025 season, he made the championship round 9 times. If you're going to make that many shows in a season, it's going to be very hard not to win one title. I mean, it's just a numbers game, right? It's just percentages. If you keep making TV shows, the chances are very high that you are going to win one, especially given the fact that EJ is just so likely to run away and come in as the 1 seed, which of course means he needs to win just 1 match to win the title. Because EJ is that good and so far away from the rest of the field, yet in most tournaments, there's just going to be times this year where he is the 1 or 2 seed and therefore has a very, very strong chance of winning a title. I think if he does have struggles throughout the season and doesn't make so many TV shows, well, then perhaps it could be more likely that he doesn't win a title, but I can't really see anything to suggest that he won't be as competitive as he's been for the last 3 seasons. Of course, things can happen such as injuries, but assuming that he's healthy, assuming that everything is as it was for the last 2 or 3 seasons, I really struggle to believe that he won't win a title. I think he's just going to put himself in too many positions to win on TV. Prediction number 2 from Chuck Gann is that Tackett wins his 4th straight Player of the Year. Now, I think this is a very bold prediction, and I will explain why. So, obviously, when you look at Tackett for the last 3 seasons, he has just pretty much run away with the Player of the Year award. And you might say that there's not really any reason why he can't do the same again and win it for a 4th year. But why I think this is a bold prediction is that nobody has ever won the Player of the Year award 4 times in a row. Having that level of dominance over such a long period is just so tough to do. I'm not exactly sure who votes for the Player of the Year award. If it's done by a collective within the PBA, that I'm not too sure about. Perhaps you could let me know in the comment section below. But there is such a thing as a voter fatigue. I mean, I'll use the NBA as an example. We've seen it with a number of players who really could easily win the MVP award every single season. But after they've won it maybe 2 or 3 times, the vote tends to go to another player. So I do wonder if a similar thing has applied in the past to the PBA, which is why we've only ever had somebody win the award 3 times in a row. Before EJ, Jason Belmonte did it. We also had Walter Ray Williams Jr., who won it 3 times in a row. Earl Anthony won it 3 times in a row on 2 separate occasions, and Mark Roth won it 3 times in a row as well. I'd say there's 3 things that's stopping EJ from winning a 4th Player of the Year award in a row. Firstly, himself, and how he performs. Secondly, I guess whoever votes, whoever makes that decision. And thirdly, whether another player comes and just has an unbelievable season that can't be ignored. But overall, in my opinion, I actually agree with this prediction that Tackett will win his 4th straight Player of the Year. I just think he's going to do the same as what he's done for the last 3 seasons. And I think he's going to have a season in 2026 where you just can't ignore him. I think he's just going to do so many special things again that means you simply have to give him the award because he will just run away with it. That's just my opinion. Prediction number 3 from Jason Meyer. Pete Weber and/or Walter Ray Williams Jr. shock everyone and make one last PBA telecast, then fully retire from all competition. Now, I'm not sure if you're referring to the main PBA tour, but let's start with that to begin with. That is pretty much not going to happen, unfortunately, for a couple of reasons. First of all, both Pete Weber and Walter Ray Williams Jr. retired from the main tour and are no longer active. Second of all, Walter Ray Williams Jr. has had a pretty bad injury, I believe his right shoulder, which has actually prompted him to bowl left-handed. You may have seen some of his videos on his social media pages where, he's bowling league left-handed because he was told he couldn't bowl right-handed. So there's absolutely no way he would be healthy enough to play on the PBA, even if he wanted to. As for Pete Weber, I mean, let's say he decided to enter a handful of events. I just think, unfortunately, as much as I would love it to happen, I can't see him making a show. However, when it comes to the PBA 50 tour, well, that is now coming back onto TV. So if you're including the PBA 50 as well when you say PBA telecast, well, that could happen. Again, Walter Ray Williams Jr. I doubt would be healthy enough, but Pete Weber could certainly make a PBA 50 telecast. It would be fantastic to see him back on TV again. And like I said in other videos, I absolutely love this move. I love the fact that the PBA 50 tour will be televised once again. And Weber has continued to be competitive. I think the last time he won a title was back in 2023, but when you look at the 2025 season, he actually finished in 11th on the points list. So he was still very competitive. So I think there's a very strong chance that he will make a PBA 50 telecast. And wouldn't it be fantastic to see him win a PBA 50 title on TV? But as for Walter Ray or Pete Weber making a show on the main tour, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. Prediction number 4 from Mr. Griddle 615. Considering the number of strong rookie talents, Fiore, Barnes, Keplinger, Robard, Crow, I predict the young guns / rookies will outnumber the vets, Belmo, EJ Simo, etc. in terms of titles won. This is a very interesting one actually, and I'm a little bit torn about this one. The young guns, I think if you're including rookies and young guns, then it all depends on how the veterans actually perform. We all know that Belmonte, EJ and Simonson are more than capable of taking home the majority of titles between them throughout the season. If you're talking about veterans, you'd also have to add in players like Andrew Anderson, Bill O'Neill, Don Barrett, Marshall Kent, Carl Troop, Jesper Svensson, Jacob Buttroff as well. And that's a very strong group of players there who really are going to win titles. If you look at the younger players, the rookies and the young guns, I think the rookies, obviously it's unlikely. It's possible they could win, but it's unlikely that they will win more than 1 or 2 titles. As for the young guns, I mean, Ryan Barnes, we'll talk a little bit about Ryan Barnes in the next prediction, but Ryan Barnes is certainly due his first title. That is a possibility. Keplinger had a pretty decent season last year, so he will be a danger to win a title as well. Ethan Fury will be looking to build on his 2025 PBA Players Championship win, so he's going to be in danger as well. But I just think when you look at the young guns and you look at the rookies, they are still obviously in the early stages of development. And while they've shown flashes, while some have won titles, I still don't think they're going to win enough to outnumber the veterans. I could be wrong. Perhaps the veterans all have a really down season and the young guns step in and take the titles. It could happen. I mean, if you're talking about first-time titleists who aren't necessarily young or rookies, and you add them in as well, then maybe. But just solely on young guns and rookies, I'm going to say that the veterans will win more titles. But it's a very interesting prediction, and you might well be right, but I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and say the veterans. Prediction number 5 comes from Andrew Phillips, who says Ryan Barnes winning his first PBA title. I do think this is quite a bold prediction, and the reasoning for this is I want to make it clear first of all that Ryan Barnes clearly has the talent to be not just competitive on tour, but he has the talent to win regularly. We've seen him grow each season. Last season, he was making shows. He had a really great season. He had a second place finish at the PBA Players Championship, but just fell short to Ethan Fury. And obviously that match was interesting because it did look like the future of the PBA. And I think it's pretty certain we will see Ryan Barnes on TV again. Now, the only thing that made me pause and just wonder whether he will win his first title this season is that he is a Barnes. Now, I want to make it clear what I mean by that. Being a Barnes means that you have insane talent. Okay, we've seen that from Chris and Linda. Unfortunately, I do believe that Ryan is a carbon copy of Chris when it comes to his mental game. When I watched Ryan throughout 2025 on TV, I really felt like I was watching Chris. The problem with that comes when things don't go too well, and there were so many similarities that I just feel that Ryan has got a little bit of a learning curve to go through when it comes to winning on TV. And unfortunately, I think it seems that he could have the same sort of struggles that Chris had. It did take Chris a little while to win on tour or win consistently on tour, but both of them were so incredibly talented, and Ryan is one of the best bowlers, best young bowlers on tour without a doubt, and he should and he will win titles. He will 100% win a PBA title. He's just got too much talent not to. But I've just got a feeling that perhaps this year maybe he just needs that little bit more time in terms of experiences, on TV, because I just have a feeling that him and Chris are so incredibly similar that it might end up being next year that he wins the title. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong about that. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I think Ryan will 100% win a title. But the biggest factor is not his skill. I guess that's what I'm driving at here. The biggest factor is how he can perform on TV. We've seen him have some struggles on TV. We've also seen him have some fantastic performances as well. But the $1 million question is going to be whether he can overcome these little TV struggles that he's had and win this season. So Andrew, I think you could certainly be right. I'm a little bit 50-50 on it, not quite sure, but obviously it just all depends on how Ryan performs under the lights on the telecasts. I don't want to take anything away from what Ryan Barnes has done and what he can do. There's no doubt in my mind that he is going to be a force on the PBA tour. He just needs to obviously get over that first hurdle and win his first title. And the debate is whether it will be this year or next year or, whenever. I think it will definitely happen soon though. And as I said earlier, that matchup at the Players Championship with Ethan Fury, that really did feel like we were watching the future stars of the PBA. So it will be very interesting to see how both of those perform in 2026. And so that brings us to an end of today's video. Make sure to let me know what your boldest predictions are for the upcoming season in the comment section below. I will be doing a lot of videos breaking down all of the upcoming PBA shows, so make sure to hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss my future videos. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, thank you bowling fans, and see you all next time.